Kent Nelson, Dr. Fate, Stephen Strange, Doctor Strange. These two characters are masters when it comes to magic and sorcery. They are incredibly entertaining, incredibly powerful, and all around just incredible characters. So I figured why not do one of the classics, DCEU versus MCU. Doctor Strange versus Dr. Fate. Like, share, subscribe, comment down below and any thoughts you have about this video. And just before we get into the actual video, let me just state that the version of Doctor Strange I will be using for this video will be from Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, with him not possessing the Time Stone. Anyway, let us begin by going through the first category that will determine the victor of this battle, and that will be the category of strength, who's basically stronger between these two characters. So let me just state that Doctor Strange is more or less a mortal, a human who has just tapped into a different superior world. So his physical strength has been upgraded to be much greater than that of an ordinary human being, but he is definitely not at the levels of a super soldier. He can momentarily hold his own against super soldiers and other powerful characters in terms of physical strength alone, but he's not at their level, meaning he is very, very far away from being at the same level as Dr. Fate when it comes to physical strength, because Dr. Fate is someone who can hold back characters like Sabbac, Black Adam, and Superman. He cannot just hold them, but he can actually physically harm them with his natural physical blows. His fists, his punches, and everything could actually hurt them, and these are characters who could take on nuclear explosions and not die. A weakened kryptonite wounded Superman took on a nuclear explosion, and after a few moments of being knocked out in space, he just came back as strong as ever. Black Adam rivals Superman when it comes into durability. He's not as durable as Superman, but he definitely rivals Superman's durability, and Dr. Fate's physical blows are able to hurt Black Adam. Dr. Fate's physical strength is far above the likes of Doctor Strange. There's no competition between them in that specific category. Now, let us move on to speed. Who is faster between these two characters? So, at first I thought it was kind of easy. DCEU seems to generally be faster in terms of speed, but it's actually not as easy as people seem to think. You see, in terms of flying and long distance moving speed, Doctor Strange has the cloak of levitation, which is not very fast, so that's a bit of a disadvantage. I'm not saying it's slow, but it's definitely not that fast. But then, in terms of reactive speed, Doctor Strange is able to keep up with characters like Captain America, Iron Man, Ultron, the God of Thunder Thor, and the Mad Titan Thanos. The God of Thunder Thor is capable of rivaling or keeping up with the speed of Hela. Hela is capable of reacting to lightning from close proximity from Thor, like literally a few feet away. The lightning was coming to her and she was able to dodge it and block it and stuff like that, which means she is above the speed levels of lightning, easily above the speed levels of lightning. Doctor Strange is capable of reacting and somewhat keeping up with both Thor and her, which makes him around that level of speed as well. So that means he's incredibly fast when it comes into reactive speed. But does that mean he's faster than Dr. Fate? Dr. Fate is able to more or less keep up with the levels of speed of Black Adam, and Black Adam is said to more or less keep up with the levels of speed of Superman. Superman can hold his own in terms of speed against the Flash. The Flash is someone who can run far faster than the speed of light. I'm not saying Superman can run far faster than the speed of light. I'm not saying his rival, he equals the Flash in terms of speed, but I'm saying he's definitely very, very fast, speed of light level speed, and Black Adam capable of keeping on par with that level of speed, and Dr. Fate is capable of also holding his own against that level of speed. So yes, I believe Dr. Fate is faster than Doctor Strange. Now, let us move on to durability. Who's more durable between these characters? I'll be honest, as I said earlier, Doctor Strange has tapped into a different world, one that makes him more durable, stronger, and faster. But we've actually seen him get knocked out so many times by things that should just not be knocking him out. He literally just sometimes hits his head too hard on the floor and just gets knocked out. I promise you, sometimes I feel like Mike Tyson could bloody knock Doctor Strange out because of him being more or less a human at some other times. His durability levels can sometimes be at the same levels as other ordinary human beings, but then once in a while they can also be greater than them. But more or less, he's less durable than let me say, a super soldier. He's less durable than Captain America. So that is a massive disadvantage when you're comparing him to the durability levels of someone like Dr. Fate, who can take direct blows from Black Adam, Superman, Zod, Doomsday, Darkseid, Steppenwolf, and of course Sabbac. he didn't just take direct physical blows to Sabak. He took the bloody flames of Sabak head on and he survived. So yeah, in terms of durability, I believe Dr. Fate is once again superior to the durability levels of Doctor Strange. Now, let's move on to hand-to-hand combat. So at first, I thought this was going to be quite obvious, with Dr. Fate being the one who's superior in terms of martial arts, given that he has lived for over 100 years, so I'm sure he has picked up a bit of martial arts. But actually, Dr. Stephen Strange was trained by Mordo in terms of martial arts. We saw a bit of his martial arts while being handcuffed in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, and then that kind of made me remember in Doctor Strange, the first movie, when he actually was being trained by Mordo in terms of martial arts. So he's actually good at martial arts, and in my opinion, he's most likely better than Dr. Fate, given that Dr. Fate most of the time must use his powers and stuff like that. We don't really see these kind of characters use their martial arts because of their levels of power, but nonetheless, we have been able to see Doctor Strange's martial arts, and we have never seen Dr. Fate portray that kind of martial arts before. So in terms of hand-to-hand combat and martial arts, I'm giving that to Doctor Strange. Now, in terms of power, who is the victor? So this is going to Doctor Strange in my opinion, because he just has way more spells than Dr. Fate. You see, I'm not saying Dr. Fate's power and his spells are weak or they're not a lot. He has a lot of spells. He can duplicate himself or clone himself. He can create chains. He has projectiles and stuff like that. Projectiles was capable of hurting Black Adam and Sabak. His duplication has allowed him to survive against these other different powerful characters. His force fields and shields have allowed him to decrease the amount of damage these characters have on the external world. And his chains, which doesn't sound so cool, but they're actually quite cool and actually quite effective. They're all powerful and great and a very large asset to Dr. Fate, but nonetheless, in just Doctor Strange's first movie, he had way more spells than Dr. Fate, and then you add all the spells he displayed in Avengers Infinity War, then Avengers Endgame, especially since he went through thousands of different timelines and learned new abilities and spells, which most likely also helped him in terms of martial arts, but nonetheless, he learned a whole bunch of new spells, and we actually saw him display a whole bunch of new spells in Multiverse of Madness, with him now being able to summon monsters, which is a huge callback and call out to the Doctor Strange we saw in the What If series. All incredible. So it's obvious that in terms of power, I'm going to be going for Doctor Strange being the victorious one in this category, and in terms of versatility as well, I believe that applies, given that he has way more spells than Dr. Fate. I mean, he bloody has the mirror dimension to his disposal. We don't know what Doctor Fate could do to that. To be honest, we don't know what many characters could do to that. If they don't have the power or the hacks, which, I'll be honest, Dr. Fate could probably have the hacks to avoid the mirror dimension or to free himself to the mirror dimension. He has lived for 100 years. He probably knows a few more spells. He probably just used those ones because he thought they were necessary. But still, Doctor Strange has way more spells than Dr. Fate. Now, ultimately, who wins between these two characters if they were to fight each other in an all-out battle? Can I please get a drum roll? Dr. Fate. Guys, Doctor Strange might be a greater or better martial artist, and he might be superior in terms of versatility and power, all great. But nonetheless, Dr. Fate has experience. Not just that, he has far greater strength, speed, and durability. If Dr. Fate lands a solid blow on Doctor Strange, he could literally just knock him out, and he could actually land a solid blow given the incredible speed he possesses and the fact that his clones have his levels of strength and stuff like that, and he is able to make those same clones as Doctor Strange did in Avengers Infinity War. Dr. Fate, if he lands a solid blow again against Doctor Strange, he will most likely be able to knock Doctor Strange out. His strength is far greater than that of Doctor Strange, so is his speed and so is his durability. Doctor Strange's spells will of course help him in this battle, but in my opinion, 6 out of 10 times, Dr. Fate, Kent Nelson, will be the victor. Anyway, that is my video on who win between Doctor Strange and Dr. Fate. I'm sure a few people have some comments and thoughts about that. They might be hate, they might be good. Nonetheless, I am happy that you watched to this point of the video. Like, share, subscribe, and comment down below. This is MCinfo with another MC Clash, and I'm out.